I do all kinds of vocal sound effects. I do sounds in my throat. I use no props, no tape recorders, no phonographs, no tricks or gimmicks of any kind. This is a regular Shure microphone. Now, I do sounds like horses galloping, water gurgling, and boat whistles. And let's see, explosions. And low-flying jet planes, and boy, this is a winner. Now, I'd like to tell you a story tonight. I call this the Big Duck Hunt. This is about a guy who's going to hunt ducks. In order to hunt ducks, you've got to have a dog. So our duck hunter, he calls his dog. The dog is going to meet the duck hunter on the front porch. Here he comes walking across the living room floor. He's going out to his new car. Peg leg from last year's hunt. Opens the front door. You like that? You want to do it again? All right, I'll do it again. Isn't that sexy? All right, gum, if you like it that much, we'll do it again. Doorknob fell off. Well, I'll get rid of the doorknob. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll kick the doorknob. It'll roll across this floor here and fall down some wooden stairs and hit concrete. You dare me? You dare me? All right, I'll do it. I'll kick it. Oh, you want a plastic doorknob or a brass doorknob? Brass, you want quality. Okay, here we go. Kick the doorknob. No, hold it. Save it. I goofed, that was a cheap one. We got to do it again. Come on back, doorknob. Thing almost got away from me. Now I'm going to do it again. This time it's going to be brass. Here we go. That was brass. And then he steps on the front porch where the dog is waiting. Fell down the stairs on the dog. He gets up off the dog, or the concrete, and he goes out to the car. This is a beautiful polluter. Parked it out in front of the house so the neighbors could see it. Waving to the neighbors, pointing to the car, waving to the neighbors, he's pointing to the car. It's the way you get the attention, you build up the hate. He's standing there slamming the door on the car. The dog's trying to get in. Waves to the neighbors. Waves to the neighbors. Now, you know the neighbors aren't going to come out and wave back because they hate his guts. But he knows they're looking because he can see the eyeball between the Venetian blinds and he's waving. Slamming the door, dog's still trying to get in. There's a dog with a bent tail. Gets into the car, works the electric windows. This car's got those little buttons you push, and the windows go up and down electrically, occasionally. You can depend on it. Push a little button, the windows go up and down electrically. Isn't that fantastic? Took a college degree to make that. Right out of the door. Now the neighbors are waving. He's going to start the car. Here's that big moment. Now, this is no ordinary car. This thing was handmade. The best, the pride of Detroit sitting here. 16 cylinders, 32 chrome carburetors, 64 spark plugs and magnetos, jet engine on the differential, IBM machine under the hood, and Ralph Nader sitting in the back seat. Starts the car. Doesn't that sort of get you right here in the gut? You know what I'd like to see happen? I've never seen this happen yet, and it could happen to you. Let's say you're doing 150 miles an hour and you pass a radar cop. He's got the radar hanging out the window. He starts his car and he goes after you. Wouldn't that be a winner? Boy, that'd be a mad cop too, wouldn't it? Back to the car. You know where this sounds best appreciated? Middle Lane Expressway. And you think this is bad? Wait till you hear the next one. Doesn't that tear you up when they do that? Don't you want to get out and kick a hole in the fender? Did you know you could do it on the new ones? Well, you can. They're making them thin. I don't care what they tell you, those things are thin. Those big black jobs they brag about, the one with the V on the hood and the diamonds with the mink wrapped around it and the blonde laying up on the roof. I'll take the blonde. She won't wear out as quick as that car. Why, you can walk out there and lean against the side of that car, just anywhere along the side of that car, and the whole side of the car just buckles in. And some of those things are so thin you can't get the, you got a dent. And the little bitty ones, like the little bitty compacts and sports jobs, they're thin too. They're like a little bug. You want to get rid of them, all you got to do is step on them. Oh, they're all over the place. They're so popular, it's like walking through a cow pasture blindfolded. You're going to hit it sooner or later. That reminds me, the last time I was in a cow pasture, I lost my hat, tried on 3 before I found it. See that table back there? Looks like the Last Supper, doesn't it? I don't think there was that many there, though. Back to the car. We got to get this thing started. Boy, if he hasn't got anything else, he's got a damn good battery. I forgot to tell you, the neighbors are rolling in the grass. I got one left. It's running, man, it's running. Now, of course, this is a stick shift. Oh, everybody's got to have a stick shift. That's a status symbol. That's all it stands for. It doesn't stand for anything else. Makes all the men feel masculine, manly, makes heroes out of them, puts rubber on their chest, or hair on their chest. He grabs that stick shift and he throws it into gear. Well, there went low. The hair just fell off his chest. But he gets this thing into gear and he burns out of there. 4 speeds forward. This is a hot rod duck hunter. This is a fast car. You watch this. Here he comes. They even got the park police after him. They'll never catch him. Here he comes again. This time he's cut in his afterburner, or carburetor. And you watch this, boy, this guy's moving. That was him. When you go at speeds like that, that's downright dangerous. There's a farmer up ahead sawing down a tree. He started on the wrong side of the tree with a left-handed saw alongside the highway. Now there's food for thought. He's out there hacking away. That was a little slow. He decided to speed it up. He goes out to the barn, comes back with his running saw. I call it a running saw because it's 40 feet long. You've got to run with it to saw the tree. Stupid, but it makes a story. Here he comes running with his 40-footer. Here he comes back running on dirt. Here he comes again. Here he comes back running on concrete. It's a long run. Here he comes again. Here he comes back running on wood. Tripped. Here comes that duck hunter running on wood with a peg leg and steps in an open knothole. Watch this. Boy, that'll stop you dead right there. The termites don't get him. Oh, have you ever been sawing wood and have the blade buckle on you? You know, you hit an otter, a nail or something, and the blade stops. Now you watch this boy with that 40-footer. I haven't done it yet. Smart aleck back here. Here he comes. He's running with a 40-footer. You're laughing, it almost killed him. He goes back to that left-handed saw. Tree finally falls. Wasn't very big. Well, there's that tree lying out there in the middle of the highway. Guess who's on the same highway doing about 600 miles an hour with the dog sitting in the back seat? Hang on. Hubcap. He climbs out of what's left of that mess. Dog was okay till he opened the door. Bent his tail back the other way. But he's practically to the duck blind. There's the pier. It goes out into the lake. Now, at the end of the pier is the boat. To get into the boat is a simple job after you've had about 20 beers. All you have to do is step off the pier. And that's what he did. Missed the boat by 40 feet. Now he climbs into the boat. This is a hot rod Go-Cat boat. This thing is 4 feet long with a 2,000 horsepower engine. It's a galvanized wash tub with a tornado strapped on the rear. Now he gets into the thing and he pulls out the warranty and the guarantee and all that sort of rot. And it says here, you got a fine engine. Grab a hold of the rope, give it a pull, the engine will start and take you to the duck line because the guarantee and the warranty here says it will do it. Puts it away, pulls the rope. Oh, it's a new engine, don't worry. You know what that thing needs is a hammer. Now, boy, there's the best tool ever made. These guys in the orchestra here, they'll tell you that if those instruments don't work, they take a hammer to them. And they never work again. Is that right? Take out the hammer, work over the engine. Just nail the dog to the boat. That's a dog. He's leaving. Boy, he grabs that rope, gets mad, and I mean he gives that thing a pull because that's what it takes. There's a good start. Ah, but he's smart. He takes off his shirt, wraps it around the flywheel, pulls the shirt tail. Kick the guarantee back into place. Takes off across that lake. Man, that was a wet crossing. On the way out to the duck blind, he takes 2 fishermen, 1 skin diver, and a game warden. He's in the duck blind. The fun's about to start. He's ready to hunt ducks, so he turns on his little miniature Japanese transistor radar. Let's pick up the ducks. Turns on his Omni navigation radio to let him know where he is. Has another gadget. He stole it from the TV show, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, stuck it in the front end of the boat. Sonar for the fish in case the ducks don't show. Here comes that first duck. Picks up his shotgun, takes a bead on the duck. He's about ready to pull the trigger. Somebody limbers up with a machine gun, 20 millimeter. Getting kind of hairy out there in that swamp. Somebody else opens up with a 40 millimeter anti-aircraft cannon on floats. This is a big gun. There's another idiot out there. He's in a concrete emplacement. Septic tank. He's got a lever action Winchester. Man, he's slinging lead all over that swamp. He's shooting all the other hunters. They got a full-scale war over that one miserable duck. They're throwing everything at him. And so ends the story of our big duck hunt. Nobody got it. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, some of the dumb things that I do.
But I do have fun. I go around the world driving people nuts with these sounds. I can do them without the microphone. Did you know that? You can hear me clear across the room. I don't need this microphone. A lot of sounds, of course, they don't come out because they're inaudible and the microphone only enhances the sound or brings it up to where you can hear it. This is nothing more than an electronic ear. It repeats only what it hears. I do the sound. Now, if that's the case, you know I do the sound and you can hear me clear across the room, it must be rather interesting to go around driving people nuts. I got a sound for every occasion. I get in a crowd of people, I got a sound for them. I cause them to look around wondering who did it. I'll give you another illustration. I go into restaurants. Now dig this scene. I go into restaurants. I pick the most exclusive restaurant in the whole area. The one that brags about their steaks and their foods and everything else. And I sit in the middle of the restaurant. I figure if you're going to make a scene, be seen. They put me at the table. They serve the steak. I pick up the knife. No microphone. I go right into the act. Human nature. You should see everybody pick up the knives and look at the edge of them. Boy, they don't believe it. The waitress serves the water. As soon as she pivots to walk off, I pick up the water. Stops them dead right in their tracks. They keep looking down. Like there's a hellish leak around here somewhere. And you think I eat a salad like anybody else? No way. They put a salad in front of me and I go right into the act again. You could see people looking at each other wondering, who's the pig? Dumb things like that. I walked into a building one day. It was an insurance building. I know it was all marble. That's where the money is. But I walked in. I'm going to move right over here. Can you follow me to the light? Fine, right over here. Ah, you got it. Now, I walked into this building one day, and I was imitating the footsteps. I was imitating the footsteps on the concrete. I had on rubber-soled shoes. That doesn't make any noise. There were some people standing in front of the elevator. This is absolutely true. I am not pulling your leg. This really happened. All of these things have really happened. I walked up to those people, and this is what happened. Now, you visualize. Remember, rubber-soled shoes, I was imitating the footsteps, people in front of the elevator. Here's what happened. I stopped right there. The footsteps kept going. I was looking down the hall. You know what the rest of the people were doing? The same thing, looking down the hall. Doors on the elevator finally opened. Everybody's shoving and pushing, you know, they always do. I was the last one on, so they shoved me in front of the buttons, all the different floors. Some guy on the other side of the elevator called out and said, "Would you push 20 for me, please?" And I said, "Yes, I'll push it for you." So I pushed the button. I'm rubbing my finger like I got electrocuted. Everybody on the elevator is watching me rub my finger and looking at those buttons. This is the truth. You know, the elevator doors closed, the elevator went up 20 floors, nobody got off. They weren't going to push the buttons. As far as I know, they're still on that elevator. Boy, oh boy. I grounded 2 airlines. I'm proud of that. I got on Braniff Airlines, Dallas, Texas. I'm sitting in the tail section of the plane. Hadn't started the engines yet. Just sitting there, thinking of some diabolical thing to do. And I thought of it. I threw this sound at them. You know, they came on board that plane and took it apart trying to figure out where that sound came from. And you know something? They found it. And they threw me off. I got on American Airlines, O'Hare Field, Chicago. I was sitting on the aisle seat. 6 seats across, DC-3. I see a few of you remember that. That was first class. You should have seen Coach. But there I was, sitting on the aisle seat. There was a gentleman sitting across from me who had never been on a plane in his life. He was a nervous wreck. Oh, he liked planes. He was letting everybody know, you know, fasten your seat belts. Keep looking out the window. That's what he did. He kept looking out the window. One time he stood up and looked out the window and he says, "Hey, look out there. Look at those people. They look like ants." And I said, they are ants. The plane hasn't even taken off yet. So we're sitting at the terminal. He was tearing up newspapers and magazines with a pile of confetti at his feet about that high. So I said, I saw that and I said, what a shame. Somebody should have cued this man how nice it is. What a great planes and everything. Technology and all that jazz. And I said, well, somebody should have, but they didn't. I'm going to do it. I threw this sound at him. Now remember, the plane was still at the terminal. This is what he heard, and if you know anything about trains, you know what this sound is. You know what I saw that guy do? So help me, he reached in, pulled his ticket out, and took another look because he wasn't sure what he was on. Well, if I didn't throw in my train joke, of course, you wouldn't let me out of here. That's my favorite sound. Anybody ever heard me do my train? Yeah, I like my train. It's about a guy who's going to take a trip from Washington, D.C. to Philadelphia. Now, the train goes through Philadelphia and goes on to New York. Fine, that's okay. But he's a very tired man. He climbs aboard the train, tells the conductor, he says, please, he says, this train stops in Philadelphia. That is my home. He says, now I must get some sleep. He says, I'm going to sit here, lean against the window, get some sleep while the train moves along. He says, when you get to Philadelphia, will you wake me up and get me off the train? And the conductor says, oh, absolutely, absolutely. We'll make sure you get off the train in Philadelphia. Just fine, I'm going to sleep. So he sits down, and the train builds up the steam. Now, this is the old locomotive. I like that one. It's a little bit more romantic. It's going to be a biggie. It's going to be a whopper. Oh, no individual applauding. You either applaud with the rest or get out. I heard that. Like that little old woman in the commercial. I heard that. You've got a chest cold. Oh, this is a long train. Well, what are you laughing at? It's either that or drop dead. And besides, I like this sound. I know it better than anybody else, and I should. I was in the Navy 8 years, 7 on trains. Oh, they finally found me. They put me on a ship that was called an LST, Large Stationary Target. It's dirty, but anyhow. Now, if you know anything about trains, if you've ever been around a train, here's a sound you'll never forget.
Oh, thank you, Large.
Now, the train is zipping right along. Remember the fellow who got on the train who wanted to get off in Philadelphia? He's leaning up against the window. The train's moving right along. He's sound asleep. Let's hear people going between the cars. You know, when you open the door, you pass from one car to the other. Crossing. Now, the train pulls into the station up ahead, and as it pulls into the station, of course, it cuts off its power, and from the sheer weight of the engine itself, the momentum just carries it right on in. If I didn't have to stop for air, I could be a freak. Made it. here is where the fun starts. Remember the guy asleep? Wakes up, takes a look out the window. It's not Philadelphia, it's New York. Oh, is he mad? He jumps up, screams past the conductor. No, he doesn't. He stops right at the conductor, and he hauls off and biffs him one right in the face. Gets down on top of him, backhands him. Gets up and stomps off the train. Boy, was he mad. Conductor's lying in the aisle, rubbing his chin. One of the passengers sitting there looking down at the conductor and says, "Man, was that guy mad?" Conductor looks up and he says, "You think he was mad? You should have seen the guy we threw off in Philadelphia if you want to see somebody mad." I got an automobile that's rigged up with sound system too. Really, this is true. I'm not pulling your leg. I have a car with all these gadgets in it. But what's up front that counts? There's an amplifier with a microphone in the cab. I drive a truck. I figure if they're going to hit me, they go under me. Oh, I gave up cars. They're completely hopeless. So I got a truck. Greatest thing I've ever driven, a van. So I sit up front with this microphone. There's a loudspeaker in front of the radiator behind the grill. Now, you've heard some of the sounds that I do. Can you imagine these sounds coming out of the front end of that car as I'm driving down a big residential section at about 3 o'clock in the morning? Did you know I'm the reason for birth control? Well, they got to stop it somewhere. I'll tell you about a sound I did. I was driving down an expressway one time. There was a traffic jam. Everybody was tuning the bumper. They were waiting on something to happen, and it did. I drove up. I got mixed up in that bunch, and I said, well, I may as well entertain them. We're not doing much out here. So I picked up the microphone, gave them the sound of a horse braying and galloping out of the front end of the car at 7 o'clock in the morning. Suppose you were sitting in front of me and heard that. What would you do? I saw a cop get out. He's looking for the horse. Now I got out and joined him. I got a town in Texas haunted. Every time I go through this town, I pick up the microphone, coming out of the fog at about 3 o'clock in the morning. This is what the residents heard. Then I cut it off and roar through. And I kept it up for 6 months and drove those people right out of their gourds. They didn't have any tracks in that town. You ever have a dog next door to you that barks all night? Little old bitty mutt about that big. Sits out there and barks at the moon. All night long. You can't shut him up because he's not your dog. I took a loudspeaker about that big, put it in a bush, covered it up and pointed it right straight at my neighbor's house. Plugged it into the car, sat down in the front seat with a microphone in my lap, and I waited for the dog to start barking. Sure enough, at 3 in the morning, he cut loose. I woke up, picked up the microphone, took a look at that dog, and I said, okay, mutt, brace yourself. I gave that mutt a sound he never forgot. Neither did the neighbor, the neighborhood, or people 5 miles from there at 3 in the morning. When I did that, the dog jumped in the garbage can. Never saw him again. Here's one for the books. One day I eased up to a big intersection that was loaded with victims, or pedestrians. People going back and forth, busy, 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 it looked good. Out in the middle of the intersection was a cop. He is directing traffic. He is having a ball. Then I saw what I was looking for. There he sat, that idiot, the hot rodder. There's always one at every intersection. He had a 4-wheel monster, tractor tires with cleats. The back end of the car was 5 feet off the ground. The front end was on roller skates. Had a black patch over his eye with a peephole so he could see the crosshairs mounted on the hood. He's going to nail the cop when the light turns green. I saw him, got up to his tailgate, picked up the microphone, and I gave him a sound that made all 4 of his tires go flat. The sound of an automobile skidding sideways from one intersection to the next, and all you could hear. I wasn't even moving. You should have seen what I created ahead of me. The hot rodder didn't open the door. He went out the window head first. He's laying on the concrete, pulling off the black patch, looking at the car, wondering, who's going to hit it? Nobody's moving. Out in the middle of the intersection was a frustrated cop. He didn't know what to stop, the guys. And do you remember the people going back and forth out there? That was the wettest intersection I've ever seen. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.